Hey everyone, I am here with Miriam, and
Hello.
hi, it's such a pleasure and privilege to be here with her. I want to share with you that Miriam was my first council circle teacher, and I think we met 11 years ago this year.
Yeah.
It's been a
Yep, about
while,
11. It's been a while.
and I'm so thrilled to announce that she is going to be co-facilitating the Pearl with me this year, and the Pearl is our Rite of Passage retreat. It's taking place from the 16th till the 19th of October in Upper Colo in Australia. We still have a few spots left, not that many, but we want to talk to you about why we think you should come and what's so special about this retreat. And I want to share with you that to me, it is a unique edition of this particular Rite of Passage retreat because Miriam will be here and she normally lives in Ojai. As you can see, we're in different time zones. And
And different seasons. I'm in summer, you're in winter.
so cold. But we're very excited to talk to you about why this retreat could be right for you in this moment in time and what's so special about it and what our intention is or why we are doing this specifically in this moment in time and who the women are that we want to call in for this retreat. So, Miriam, I'll probably hand it to you and you can say something, whatever's on your heart.
Oh, I am first of all so excited to work with you, Nele. It's like it's a full circle coming back around to be co-facilitating this. And I want to speak to any of the women who are considering this because in my travels around, this is a really good space for any woman who's coming into that place where she really wants to come into her calling and her purpose and the vision of her work. Um, and that when I say work, that doesn't necessarily mean career. That could be with your kids. It could be in your community. It could be your journey with yourself. But this is a real opportunity to take this time out and go on this deep dive. And you're in good hands because Neela and I have been doing this work for a long time and we are passionate about it. And you're in good hands because actually we're there just as guides. This land that you're stepping onto, that Neela's been working with and on for so long, some of you may have been there. This is going to hold you and teach you, and we're really, really excited about that.
Mm. Yeah, I want to talk to that a little bit because I feel like this particular place is a place I've been working with for 7 or 8 years now, and it's held about 10 retreats. And the land there knows exactly what we're doing. And the way that it shows up for us is just miraculous. And it's one of the elements I always say when we work together and we design these retreats, we're not just creating a program, but we're co-creating it with something greater than ourselves. And why it's so special to come on these weekends is that you're stepping into a different reality. You're temporarily not in your normal routine. So you come onto this land that's so supportive, and there's an element of mystery that comes in that will just add this extra layer of magic. And we have a million stories of how that happens. But before we maybe tell you some of these stories, the intention of this retreat, like Miriam's already said, is really to create this container for you to be in for 4 days and to be so held and supported in this process of uncovering more of who you are. Like the reason this retreat is called the Pearl. Oh, actually, I'm going to ask you about it, Miriam, because I came up with
Because
that
you
name.
named it. You named it. You named it.
I
Well,
came
I
up
mean,
with it.
I think it's a brilliant name to describe what a rite of passage is. First of all, uncovering the pearl. So you can think about a pearl being in a shell and having a lot of grit around it. So first of all, a rite of passage is not, it's about a discovery process of something that's new but old. So the pearl is a great process, great way to describe it because, and I'm touching my belly mindfully, it's there in that part of you. You know it. It's the thread that you've been following your whole life. And then, and then you're in your life and you feel like you're on the hamster wheel and you're going around and around and the same thing, and you've lost hold, or you've too much has got in the way of you feeling and being led by that thread. And it's a pearl because it's unique to you. It's beautiful and it's unique. And now you'll see like my tears coming because the privilege of doing this work, and it is a privilege. Each time we do it, the journey is unique. We have a program, we have like things that we use, but it's always unique because of this partnership with the land and the mystery and the unknown. And what's really important in our competitive, comparative world is that there is something in you that is completely unique and it is a pearl, and the world, I want to swear here, but I'm not going to, the world freaking needs it,
Mhm.
and it needs it now. I firmly believe that if we can access the pearl that we all have and contribute from that place into the world, that will not just be okay, we will thrive.
Mhm.
And particularly at the moment, the world needs that. It needs your contribution. And so the pearl, that part of you that's unique and beautiful and needs to come out in the world. And that's exactly what this retreat is designed to do. It's designed as guides and as a group. We're going to go beneath the surface, beneath the superficial way that you operate in your life. Not that it's superficial, but the way that you operate in your life. And we're going to go under the earth and we're going to uncover the grit, take off the shell, so allow you to kind of play, take off the mask that you need to wear and your roles in the world, allow you to play. That's the shell, and then the grit that is around the pearl is very more often than not the things that we resist, the wounds that we carry. That's the doorway into the pearl. That's the doorway into our unique contribution. So that's my long explanation. I have no idea if that's why you called it the
Yeah.
pearl, but when you said to me, I didn't even ask why because I was like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. It's that.
Well, a good story about the pearl and the reason why it's called the pearl is the name came to me first, but it came to me like this, like it dropped in one day and I was like, oh, that's a great name for that retreat that I've been dreaming of. And then I went to the land, and on the land, there's a huge sign that says the pearl, like an actual pearl. Because the owners of the land have worked on movie sets and they worked on, I think, Australia and Moulin Rouge, and they got this big pearl from the movie set and it's there. So the day that we arrive before the retreat,
You didn't even know that.
no,
That is awesome. It's so perfect.
it's hilarious. So, I mean,
Absolutely.
an example
Brilliant.
of the mystery doing its work. But that's a great description. I don't have that much to add to it, but there's something, yeah, tell me.
Well, can I say something? Because that's actually a really good. I think you just described the process too. Just in that story, you described the process of a rite of passage because it doesn't come through the brain. You go and go, I'm going to rationally find out what my pearl is and what the grid around it. It doesn't come from that place. And, we operate in that place and need to operate in that place in the world. You just described it. It comes from like, whoosh, it just dropped in from somewhere. And that's really what it feels like when you're in the transformational process. Oh, there it is. That's kind of like familiar and feels right. I have no idea why. And
Mhm.
then you're out with the group on the land in this space that we will create for you, and it's beautiful. And suddenly you see something. It's like, it could be the pearl that you discovered. I've had people go, wow, I feel like I need to jump more in my life. I need to make a leap. And then a squirrel leaps from one tree to the other. It's just there. Mysteriously, the circumstances work with you to be
Mhm.
able to discover it. And then what you said was like, there's the pearl. That laugh.
Yeah.
That's just silly that's now I can see it. Like, wow, life is too mysterious. Like, that's unbelievable. And then, here we are now, and I give this long explanation. And it's like perfect. It's more perfect than you could have rationally planned for. And so I think that's a really good, that just in that story is a really good explanation of what you can expect as a result or the impact of this work.
And that's actually also why it's really hard to talk about it, because it's so felt. So it's really hard to describe it in words what happens because it's so numinous in quality. Like people have experiences that they'll never forget. And something that I like to use as an analogy is there's these moments in life and they're like the pearls on your necklace because they feel timeless and so special and stretched in time. But then but those are the ones you'll never forget. And this weekend is one of them because so much changes and there's such a high propensity for magic and synchronicity and all of these stories and myths that will come that you will always have it. So no matter what happens later in life, there's always that moment to return to. And I can speak to, I went on this retreat 11 years ago, and that's what put me on this path. It was one freaking moment in time, 5 days, 6 days. And I didn't even know. What I do remember is that I was in my life living, I was working in corporate, and I had all of the things that I thought I wanted. So I was like, I have so many friends, I have an apartment with ocean views, and I have a great job, and I make money. And there was something in me that knew that this wasn't there, it was something wasn't right. It wasn't aligned with what I really wanted to do and who I had really been before, because I was someone who was passionate about the environment and making a difference. And then I'd moved to Australia, and that part of me had gotten lost a little bit. And I had on paper everything that I wanted. And I was called to go to this retreat in Montana. And I understand now it was a type of rite of passage. But what happened there, that moment, was so life-changing that now it's like my life before and after that moment. Because after that, something was put in motion. And I can still go back to that place by little things like a smell, or I see a lake and I'm like, ooh, it takes me right back there. And I will never, ever, ever forget. And the people I met there, I am in touch with 10 of them weekly. That's just, that's bonkers, you know.
Totally.
But it's that is the thing. It's like you create this moment in time where something is reactivated and re-enlivened, and it's that thread that you talk about or the pearl, like it's been there all along. Like now I know what my pearl is, and I had to go recollect it in a way that was letting go of all of these expectations or all of the conditionings or all of the ideas that I had accumulated that weren't actually mine. So
Yep.
I think I was trying to fix for this thing that I was feeling by doing all these other things up here. Like I was like, well, if I get really fit and maybe I should lose 5 kilos, and then if I have the right outfit and if I always look a certain way and if I get promoted at work, and once all these things happen, then maybe that itch goes away that I was feeling. But
Yeah.
then, but it just, I realize now that the work that we do is, it goes way below that. Like it's a completely different place that we can
Paradigm.
go to. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a completely different paradigm. And it's really interesting listening to your story because, I've worked with hundreds of people in this process now, and while the pearl is really unique, weirdly, the calling and the process of getting there is kind of like my journey mirrors yours. The details are different, but the kind of like it mirrors yours. So it's like I was living in America. I'd gone back to Australia to facilitate my then husband's mother's death. And I was there, and there was like my business was like booming, like it'd gone from a 1 million to a $20 million business. It was everything I could have asked for. I'd finally got the money with it. I'd gone into this business so I could buy a house. I got the money. It was a big achievement. And two things happened. One thing that happened was that I was like doubting if I should go back to America. Didn't make sense. And I had this weekend after my mother-in-law died, where I was like, okay, I have to make the decision now, and it was on me to make the decision. And these series of things happened just to confirm. Like I'm not going to go into detail because I'll tell you when you come. But these series of things, and it felt mysterious. So if you're sitting here now and you're going, oh, I think this is for me, everything is going to work, in terms of your calling, everything tends to kind of come in mysterious ways, just like the pearl did. I then got back I did that, and within a week of me getting back to the States, I went to a morning yoga class and I met the person who would then become my co-guide for the next 10 years in this work. And the movement was I moved from a heading up an organization, founding an organization that was about change, but was kind of like on the surface of it into this work. And over the next 15 years, what's happened is I've I've had to unlearn and release a lot in my life, but I can categorically tell you that I'm aligned and clear. It's not always an easy journey, but I'm aligned and clear. And I know that I'm contributing what I need to in the world. And I think at the root of many, many people, but particularly women who are experiencing and looking and seeing what's happening in the world at the moment, finding your response to it and kind of like not judging what that is, because your response could be simply going to the school every week that your child goes to and leading a class in, sewing and being able to talk to the kids in that sewing class. It could look like that. It could look like starting an organization or a movement that sweeps the world. The size and shape of it is irrelevant. But what's important is that place that Nele's talking about, that place that you arrive that anchors the feeling and the sense of that pearl within you that you can always like pull out. And because regardless, life is difficult and hard. It's sometimes painful, and we can't avoid that because there's death, because there's change, and so alongside the joy and wonder, which Nele opens the door to in all of the work that she does, there is actually the joy and wonder of the grit.
Mm.
And so while we're asking and inviting you into the underworld, into some things that you might have been resisting, that you haven't wanted to see or experience or walk through, what I can say is that this journey, rather than being the sort of pain which you're doing on your own,
Mm.
here you're going to experience the pain with two very experienced guides who place love at the center and care at the center, and a group of people that are on that with you, and an opening to experience, and I kid you not here, the mysterious, overwhelming way that the world and nature and our ecology is here to support you in that journey.
Mm.
And I, both of us could tell you hundreds of stories
Mm.
about the mystery and that joy of that. And I can't speak about it without tears coming to my
Same.
eyes. And so I just want to invite you, like if any part of you is like, yeah, this is this is my time. I really encourage you to come because we're not doing this program very often. We're not opening this door very often. And we're also in this particular one, we're doing it in a really accessible way.
Mhm.
So I just want to really encourage you. And then, the door opens, you get to experience that part of yourself. And then, whoa, you wait and see what happens.
Well, that's it. The entire thing recalibrates. Like, I just loved your story because you said, oh, well, and then a week later, I know his name's Adam. I met Adam, and we started this company. And I was like, yeah, when I came back to Australia from Montana, I met you. Like, that's what happened. Like, I met you 2 weeks later. And it's like, where does that even,
I
how
know. And
happen?
it's like, and I go back to that thing of when you said it's really hard to explain because it's not rational. It skips it's like instead of coming how we operate in the world is we go like we got to think and decide rationally. It's the other direction.
Mhm.
Once you kind of get a sense of that pearl, it like comes from the pearl, and then you like post it, go, wow, that was incredible how this is going on. Like, and all it takes is a little bit of letting go, a little bit of unlearning, a little bit of letting go, and an opening to a little bit of more trust
Mhm.
in the unknown and your capacity. And your capacity just to not know a little bit and walk with the mystery a little bit. And Isra and I come with a lot of tools, um, what we also come with is having traveled this journey, and I think this is more important, having dedicated like 150% to this journey in our lives. And what that means is that we've both given up lucrative corporate careers. Crazy, hey? We've started businesses. We've made decisions based on that pearl that we both carry, even when we don't always know the results. And we've partnered with that over the last 11 years. We've partnered in that journey together. And this is an opportunity to meet a group of women who will also partner in the same way. And sometimes the courage and bravery, you might be listening to this and you might go, I know, and I did know the changes. I'll reveal something vulnerable. I knew that I needed to leave my husband. I knew. And I'd been a single mother before. I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to do that to my kids. I didn't want to hurt him because I did love him. I wasn't in love with him, but I loved him. And I came back, and after that, I also I left the marriage, and it was really tough. And I'd been skirting around it since the day we got married, and that's a really tough reality. And so, if you're listening to this, and a part of you might not know what it is, that thing you need to shift. Might be a business you started, a career that you've committed a lot of time to. This is also a place just to meet a community and learn a process that can hold you in the changes you know you need to make, and open up to the way that that can be held with love
Mm.
and care.
Yeah, and I think that's really the difference is that I know because I've also been in this work for a really long time. And I know that what makes it so beautiful is the wholeness of everything that happens. So even if you are going through a process of grief or something that you're facing like that thing, or you're facing I always say you're facing the music on in a particular moment, you get to that truth that you've been resisting, or and then you're surrounded by this field of people who just meet you with love. And at the same time, someone else might be having something hilarious happen to them, or something, and it's kind of funny, and you can see that life is not just that one thing that you're feeling, but you're in this field of all of these things can happen at the same time. And actually, it's never as bad as you thought it would be because you feel so supported. And sometimes that moment of grief is like, oh, you were in that for an hour and it changed your entire life. And maybe in your life, you've been resisting it for years. And you've been sitting with that thing going, oh my God, I could never go there. Imagine what if I do this thing, or if I have to face this or feel that. And then you're in this group and it just opens up for you. And you can be in that thing. And it's like, oh, it's never the response or never the result that you think it's going to be. It's like way more beautiful. Because I think even in grief or in moments of sadness, it's still there's a romance. Like the mystery is still there. There'll be ritual, there'll be beauty, there might be singing, and you're just I can't tell you how many times I've stood crying whilst I'm like, life is amazing, at the same time.
Yeah. And so they call it like dancing with or courting the shadow. And it actually taking me to a story because we've brought up grief. We're talking about, I told a story about a big change in my life. You're talking about grief. It could also be that you've already made the choices we're talking about and you're already in the unknown. And, whatever gave you security, whether it's money or a relationship, or something's happened to you, or any of those things. So you could also be in the unknown already and be a bit lost. So that this is also a place for you. Um, but I just want to say a little story about grief. When I was going through that process I described, actually my mother-in-law at that time was one of 5 different deaths that happened in the space of a year, or close deaths. And I got really, really interested in grief. And I spoke to a woman. Oh, she was just amazing. She was a woman, she was European, and she had lost 3 children, not all at once, over the course of 6 years. Not like of various ages. It was, I couldn't even imagine. what that would be like. Like what, but three, like not even imagine. And she had gone through a grief process and now was a woman who had written about grief and facilitated groups across the world of parents who had lost their children and children who had lost their parents. And I just like she was just astoundingly beautiful, wise woman. And the thing I just always remember and I took away from it was, her experience was that there was two sorts of grief. There's a sort of grief where you resist it. There's some resistance. There's something unresolved, and it's torturous. She described it as torturous, and it was from her personal experience. It was like it's unresolved, it's torturous, and then she said there's the sort of grief which is like pain, like you can feel the pain, but it's moving, and even if there's like or there's it's big and overwhelming, there's a sweetness to it. And she said, really, the sort of, I was talking about the sort of processes, the rite of passage process, and she said that's the movement. The movement from that being stuck to moving is the movement from it becoming, um, you know, toxifying, you know, creating disease into something that can not just move you and be sweet with a group, but as the example in her case, affected thousands of people's lives across the world.
And I think that's where it becomes like fertile ground, and everybody, that's why the pearl and the grit is such a good analogy too, because often the grit becomes the reason there's a pearl, like you can't have one without the other. And I was thinking today, like, wow, I feel so moved because my company is growing and it's amazing. And all the people that are signing up for retreats and programs are people I want to be friends with that I think are so awesome. And that's like my story is that I always felt like I was the black sheep. And until I was in my 20s, I found my people. But I was always the odd one out that was like a bit on the edge and like, I don't have many friends kind of thing. I don't really feel like I belong anywhere. And of course, my work became the work of belonging, and of transformation. And now I have the most incredible people around me all the time. But it's so funny that the thing that was the gritty thing that I was like not able to be with, or I was for a long time in my life assimilating and changing and hiding parts of myself to be more liked or to fit in or do all of this stuff. And now I'm just deliciously weird, as everyone will know. But like, and now all the weird people are finding me.
Are
Really.
you finding me weird? Is this what we're talking about? I'm deliciously weird too. Um, uh, uh, and I just want to say a little bit about, one of the things like of being belonging and being individually yourself. There is nothing like the experience of I don't mean literally when I take off our clothes, although you may, and that's welcome. Whatever you want to do, jump in the river. But there's nothing more I think more important than kind of like being able to shed all of your masks and be really seen. And one of the processes which is really core to this, which Nele and I have studied, is a process of really taking time out to really witness each person. And there's a way that both confirms the shape and size of the pearl, and it's joyful because everyone gets to kind of confirm that shape and size, but also helps you see the bigger story. In Australia, we call it the song line of your life. Be able to what song you're singing and be able to see it in the bigger perspective. Because I think part of the issue that we have when we're in our lives and caught up in the day to day is that sometimes we lose touch with the bigger picture. And so often, the decisions we make are kind of like moment to moment decisions, and quite often, like it really helps us play the long game, and be able to kind of go through the kind of difficult seasons, and enable us to really like, yes, create the life that we really want. And in Israel's, oh, sorry, I keep calling you Isra. I talked to her just before. In Neela's story and in mine, you will hear the same thing. You heard the same thing. It was this this place where it felt like we were doing what we were meant. We thought we were doing what we meant to do to get to where we want, but we felt a little deadened to this place of aliveness. So in a lot of ways, even though the process is different, your wonder deepens. And that's what, the introductory or the work that Nele does in kind of reigniting wonder and awe, this is about deepening it.
Yeah.
And so just to know this process more often, always, I would say, comes out with more aliveness.
Mm. And they always go together. I think, yes, there's depth, but also the retreat is full of beauty. Like we will wrap you in wonder and ritual and experiences that you can't even imagine. And the land there is so incredibly exquisite. There's a river that's just for us. There's, well, I don't want to give it away. It has an element of surprise that you can't really give away, which is annoying, but you have to experience it. And it is a land of wonder. Like we always refer to it as Narnia because it feels like you're stepping through a wardrobe into another world. Even if people were just on this land without us even saying a word, they would be changed by it. And I know that for sure because I've stayed on that land on my own. It is so incredibly supportive of this work and the things that occur. We always say you can't make that shit up. You can't make that shit up. It is just so wild. So there's that element, which is amazing, plus the work that we do and all of the wonder and the abundance and the beauty. So even though there may be gritty elements and we invite you into this kind of underwater adventure, like we go a little bit underwater for a few days, and time kind of stretches and it becomes liminal and you're in that inquiry and in the depths of the thing. It's also so supported with the wonder that's happening all around you. And you're being wrapped in this like beauty, delicious food, surprises, ritual. It's the most exquisite way to go through these processes where they're really held with such reverence and care as we hold it. And
Yeah, yeah. And as you're talking, it's reminding me it's really important if you're listening to this, um, everything is an invitation.
mm,
As guides, everything is an invitation, and that's um, you know, you are going to meet this experience that we and the land is there and the group is there to create together, and everything is deciding if it's, if that part is for you or if it's something else. Sometimes I've seen people like I've given an invitation and they've gone, oh, and this is really important. Oh no, it's my time to just go and walk on my own. And that's where like the magic happens. So I think that's like very important to realize as part of this journey as well.
yeah, that's a good point because it is about sovereignty. Because you have to find your own pearl, and that means also being able to stand for it. And so I know you and I know me, and we're not precious people.
No, we're weird. You've already said it. No, we're also steeped. You can hear I'm Australian and Neela's you're an Australian too. We're steeped in that like, okay, we're not precious and we hold it with the process with deep care and experience. But as with all transformational work, is best held lightly.
Mhm.
And so that's also how we hold it. We hold it lightly at the edges, but we're there to catch you if
Yes,
needed.
yes. And I love to bring, well, I know you. We love to bring in humor. We love to bring in some play at the same time. It's never going to be boring. It's
I'm
definitely
so
going to be
excited to come back to Australia because Americans have a really different sense of humor. And so whenever I'm working with people from Australia, yeah, great. I can
more.
get into that. Yeah, definitely. I mean, you have to like it's like yes,
You
yeah,
have to laugh. Like you
and
have
play as well, and dancing and like movement and and just moving it through. So yeah, all of that.
all of that. Well, I can talk about this for another 3 hours, but I feel like we've given a good little flavor of what this journey is about and this invitation is about. And like I said, this is one of those moments, it's designed to be the moment that creates the before and after for you. And it's serious and held lightly, but with deep reverence. And for me, this retreat is something that I spent months on, finding the right things, listening to the story that wants to come through. And it's such a work of art to me. And I know Miriam and how she works. And together, we're going to hold this with so much care and love and reverence. And it's intended to be that experience for you that we both had.
Yeah. I'm sorry I interrupted you because I was passionately thinking about all the women I've supported through this. And I just want to say really mindfully, we are there. The group is there because as Neela said, it just happens. You end up like talking to each other. But we're also there. I know the women, I'm thinking of many women who I have it's just happened. We facilitated them. I facilitated them through this process, and I'm always there in connection because for me, and I know for you, Neela, it's the greatest privilege and honor and deep joy to not just to experience in this the pearl, but then just to see as people come out of it and are like, yeah, here's my pearl, and just to see what happens. It's this amazing joy and privilege to track that journey following this. And um, so yeah, please, please, if you hear the call, we don't have too many places left. Book in, come, and the world needs you. I just want to say that really, the world needs your pearl.
And we can't wait to welcome you to the Narnia land of our dreams in October.